Good morning, and welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. The snow fell last night, so it's not as big a deal right now. It's like 32 degrees, so there might be some patches of black ice, but not that it matters to anyone on here, because this is not going up till tonight. Because at noon today, a new episode went up of a new show that we're launching in January. A lot of people excited for that. So, check out that episode. It's the one right below that's on the feed. It's Exploring Hyperspace Lanes is what it's called. Exploring Hyperspace Lanes, episode 1. And the full episode will be going up on, or that is the full episode, but the podcast will be launching formally on, what was the date we had? The 4th of January. We're doing Wednesdays. And that'll just be a cool thing talking about the Star Wars Extended Universe, me and Josie. And Peter, he wants to come on too, so we're going to be covering a lot of the entirety of Star Wars stuff. Yeah, that is launching there. So, this episode is a review of a new video game that has, it came out earlier this year for Steam and for PC platforms, and then it got ported to the Switch. To keep in line with FTC regulation, I received this as a free copy from Kardboard Games, so I could review it. This is based on playing it on the Switch, which, if you live in Europe or in the broader Japanese region, I think the region JP is not just specifically Japan, but like most of Asia, just like how NA also encompasses like South America, and I think Europe is Europe, but it encompasses all of that, and it's out for Europe and it's out for Japan, but it's not yet out for North American Switch. When I reached out to Akuparna, they were not able to tell me. They weren't able to tell me when it's coming out for North America, which is where a good amount of the listening base is for the show. So just keep an eye out for it. I think you can access it on the shop and wish list it, but there isn't a release date yet. That said, here we are talking about Kardboard Kings. And that was certainly a fucking maneuver there, buddy. So Kardboard Kings. Kardboard Kings is a business simulator. You are given control of your grandfather's card shop after he passes on, and you have to buy and sell cards. Buy cards at a low price, sell them at a high price. There are in-game events that will alter the price of the cards, and you buy them off eBay, or they're the game's equivalent of eBay, and any number of other, companies like that. So it's pretty cool. It's a pretty interesting concept, and the gameplay loop is very rewarding. It's one of those things where it's like a lot of, I don't want to say this because it sounds derogatory, but a lot of mobile games have this similar kind of thing where the better you do is dependent on the better you do is dependent on how well you can, how much money you make. So the more money you make, the better it feels, the more you want to play the game. And the game is designed to keep it in mind. It's not like I found that this game doesn't have the punishing difficulty that, say, Game Dev Tycoon has. Another game that, if you listen to this show, I love. Where Game Dev Tycoon, if you fuck up, you will lose money. But you're talking on such a small scale of money in this game that you don't have the capacity to fuck up as badly and have it be almost unrecoverable from that point on. It's an interesting kind of thing to point out and to look at, where it's like, okay, so I can, if I make a mistake and buy this card at the wrong time, I'm not going to be stuck with it forever. Because you will just get more. There's always more opportunity for growth in a way there isn't for what's it called? In a way there isn't for other games in the genre. The friendship systems are interesting too, and I think it is an added level of fun to this. And I think that it does, like, look, the writing is not the best, but you don't really have to acknowledge the writing. It's not integral, I don't think, to enjoyment. You can play around that. And the collection aspect of the game makes it more fun. And you do get this sense of, there is a post-game to it where you're not just, playing through the story and then you get to the end and you're done. There is this sense of, I'm going to continue past into the next, past where the story would normally end. Just because I want to see, I want to complete my collection and have it on the shelf. Which is an interesting thing, too. There are other things you can do. You can host launch parties. You can customize your store. You can, hold tournaments. There's all kinds of things like that you can do. That make the game kind of interesting. And I said this when I did my review for the Smithtown Chronicle of this game. This game, a lot of times when you take business simulators and port them to consoles, they don't translate as nicely as one would expect. Because a lot of business simulators have complex control schemes on the keyboard and mouse, or a very point and click. In which case, playing on a gamepad or playing on a controller doesn't exactly work 100% of the time. So the question is, how do you do that? This game did a very good job porting over and making the controls intuitive and responsive to the player, so that way you are not playing catch-up. I think it was one feature that would have been helpful that I didn't discover in my playthrough. So it doesn't mean it's not necessarily there. I would have liked the ability to pause while the store is open, kind of like freeze time. Because there are other games like I think of like The Sims, or like The Sims 2 in the Open for Business pack. You could pause time to restock your store, and I feel like that would have been helpful, because what happens is everything moves so fast while the store is open that you kind of have to just, like, your best bet is just to set the store up at the beginning of the day and let it play through and hope for the best, instead of trying to on the fly change things, because you don't want to leave customers waiting or anything like that. I don't know if there is a penalty for leaving customers waiting, because I never let anyone wait. I just always got the customers in and out as quickly as possible, because I had a feeling there'd be a thing where it's like, if you leave the customers waiting, they will leave you, like they'll just leave and not buy the cards. So I was like, let me just, because that's how other games work. So to avoid that, I just didn't let anyone wait. So there could be penalty. I never encountered it because I didn't let it happen. And I think that, like, by and away, this is one of the best controlled simulators I've ever played on the Switch. I've played a few. I played 2 Point Hospital and 2 Point, the other one. 2 Point University, 2 Point Campus, whatever the hell it was called, it just came out. Like, games like that don't really function well. And I've played, like, Tropico on the PlayStation, which is, there's a lot of menus and stuff that you need to keep mind of where what is. And this game does a great job of keeping you like, okay, so here is everything, and here's everything you need to know, and it works. And I think that, like, if you're going to port a simulator game to a console, this should be the landmark for how you lay out the UI and how you lay out the controls, because it's like nothing ever gets in the way. You can still completely run your store no problem, and it's just kind of a fun thing to do as you. It makes the game, which for a business simulator can be very technical in terms of what you're doing, it makes the whole experience a lot more fun. And ultimately, when you're playing a video game, that's what you're here for. You're here for the fun. You're not here for the technical. And I think it works very well. But look, the game is so well executed the entire way through. I think that it is, it's worth playing when it does come out. If you haven't played it already, if you have played it already, then you know what I'm talking about. It is available on Steam. Steam for certain. I think it might also be on Epic Game Store, but definitely Steam. And it is very much worth your time to play if you haven't played it already. Or you can just wait until it comes to Switch, which will be at some point. I asked, they wouldn't tell me. I think it's going to be early next year. Or if not late this year, early next year. So I don't think it's going to be too long of a wait. But it is definitely worth it to play when it comes. What else? I feel like there's something else I wanted to say with this that was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. Oh, the DLC. They added DLC to the game too, where you can go and you can play the game that you're selling the cards for. Which is a nice little added mechanic that they really didn't need to do. But it's a nice little add-on that adds to the post-game for what you can do once you have completed your main mission of, becoming a grade store and collecting all the cards. You can make a deck. And then with the deck, go and battle. Which, I think had I not locked my game of the year, I probably would have. This game would get strong consideration for game of the year, I think. Had I not already locked it, which we'll talk about in a few weeks when we do our year-end wrap-up show. We'll probably do that in the new year, though. But it's an interesting. It is a truly interesting game, and it's very well executed. And as I was playing it, my first thought was, wait, no one's done this before? Because, the era of collectible trading cards, it hasn't come and gone. Because, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is still huge, and Pokemon is still huge, and Magic the Gathering is still huge. The era hasn't come and gone by a long shot, but it feels like this would have been a game that came out 10 years ago, 15 years ago, during kind of the heyday of all of this. And I think that what we're looking at here is we're looking at a game that could spawn the genesis, it could be the genesis point for other games like it, which, if that's the case, I'm all for this. I would love more games like this. I mean, maybe if they do more DLC in the future, maybe they can do, additional games being sold in the store, expanding the store, expanding out to do other stuff besides just this one game. That would be cool, too. And, more sets would be nice, more, there are so many avenues for DLC for this game that there's, the sky's the limit on what could be done. But yeah, I think we'll wrap up there for today. I think we've covered a lot of ground with this. So, Kardboard Kings, if you have not checked it out already, go check it out. And if you, what was it? So, today is Monday. Today at noon Eastern Time, we're putting up the new episode about, what's it called? The new episode about Star Wars for the new show. The first episode of the new show that me and Josie recorded on Saturday. And then we are putting up this after. So go back to the episode before this, check it out, see if you like it. Go back and check out the episode that we did on Saturday, where me and Josie went in and definitively ranked the MCU. I think that after she sees Wakanda Forever, we will adjust the ranking. And then we will, we'll adjust it there, because that's the only thing. The only qualm I have with this ranking is that Wakanda Forever is too low, and that's only because Josie hasn't seen it yet. So I would be interested to see how many points she gives it, and then where it goes on the list. So that'll be interesting to see where it goes. But I'm looking forward to the Star Wars show. I think the Star Wars show has a lot of capacity to be unique and be great, and we'll see how well it catches on. Because it gives us an outlet to talk about Star Wars and never a bad thing. Never a bad thing. But yeah, so I think that's it. So until our next episode, which I might watch Pinocchio tonight. I still haven't watched Pinocchio yet because I've been busy collecting footage for that Star Wars show that we're going to be doing. Our fifth episode is going to be about Star Wars Battlefront, so I paid the $10 to buy Star Wars Battlefront for PC, and I've been playing through that a little bit to get footage for the video component. So I didn't know this until the other day. I think we'll wrap up on this note. I didn't know this until the other day, but they put out an update when they put it on PC. I guess they put out a 1.02 update, and in the 1.02 update, they added another map, and there is a Jabba's Palace map. I didn't know that. I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, you can't kill Jabba. I tried. I got to the throne room and I tried to shoot him and it wouldn't work, but whatever. But the Star Wars show is going to be cool. We are going in on Star Wars, so it's like, on there we're going to talk about it. Our episode after that's going to be A New Hope. We want to keep people informed of what we're doing so that they can show up every week and have some context for what we're talking about. So, yeah, definitely check it out. That's on this feed, directly below this if you haven't already listened to it. And then also you can go back to, it's on this feed and also on 30-minute reviews. We're planning a full launch for this. So, let's get ready for that. So, until our next episode, which will be maybe tomorrow with Pinocchio, maybe tomorrow with Senior. I know Bardo comes out this week, and I'm dreading it. I'm fucking dreading it, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. 3-hour and 35-minute movie, way too long. And I'm talking about Avatar: The Way of Water, which is opening Thursday. I'm going Thursday night. Which, again, in a truly baffling decision, my AMC is still closed. Their IMAX theater is still closed. It closed in June, this IMAX theater. And it's still closed to this day. Which is just one of those things where it's like, what the can you just finish it? And they only have they have 3 theaters showing it out of 6, so that means you have 3 theaters showing that, presumably one showing Wakanda Forever, and who knows what else, but if that's the case, and we got 3 theaters showing this, then, can we just move it along? Because I do not, and if you're doing that, can every screening on the Dolby screen be 3D? Why do we need 3 screens doing it? 1 standard 2D, 1 3D, and then Dolby, which is also 2D. Why is Dolby not 3D? Because that's the best sound quality. Why are you not putting the 3D cut on there? And then I went I'm just going to go to another theater. But the other theater start times, I'm not starting a 3.5-hour movie at 7 and then going to work the next day after recording a podcast. And I was just let me just, shelve this idea and just stick with the 2D screening. I might go see a 3D screening this weekend, but not opening night, because they make it needlessly difficult to do so. But we'll wrap up there for today. So until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.